I finally made it to the end. Here is my review of Season 1, Episode 10 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and I thought it was a typo, but it's not. It's called Rubincon. I found a bad piece of editing here where Nala Aki says, please, but they use a cut of Caleb Meir, and his mouth opens right when she says please, so it makes it look like he's saying it. Check this out and tell me if this doesn't bug you.
Please, come with me to the bridge. Please. Please.
So it starts off where the previous episode ended, and Aki is in sickbay with Ashani. Is that her name? Mir? Caleb's mom, and Caleb and the doctor. And they have a conversation to get Caleb's mom up to speed on the situation at hand. And then they beam back to the bridge, which isn't odd, because they just beam willy-nilly around everywhere on the show. But I'm remembering back to the previous episode where Reno says this.
Warning, torpedo incoming.
Reno! Just lost transporters.
Get her to auxiliary med bay, deck 2.
Captain, enemy long-range scans have locked onto us.
We've got one.
Another torpedo
Make
incoming.
that 3 Venari Rawl vessels moving to intercept.
So when they were attacked by the Venari Rawl, a torpedo hits the ship, knocks out the transporters. Why? They weren't going to use the transporters to escape. It was all to make it more dramatic for Caleb to pick up his mom and carry her to sickbay. But then on this episode, they're working again, mere minutes later. So why have Reno say transporters are out and show Caleb picking up his mom? If a difference that makes no difference is no difference, then there's no difference to be made. I don't know. I got that wrong. But what I'm saying is, it's stupid to set it up saying, oh no, transporters are out. You have to manually walk to the sick bay. And a minute later say, oh, hey, by the way, they're working again. Let's just beam back to the bridge. It's stupid. So Reno punches a signal through the wall of death to talk to Admiral Vance and Laura Thok at Starfleet Command to apprise them that they are outside of the wall of death, as Reno puts it. And Laura Thok says something interesting here.
You are. Our analytics confirm that the wall is made up of hundreds of individual minds, each containing a single particle of Omega-47.
So it's just hundreds of minds that surround all of Federation space? Hundreds. I would think it would take hundreds to surround Earth. Or let's say these mines have a really high yield, hundreds of mines to surround a solar system, but not dozens. I mean, I know that the Federation is supposedly smaller now than pre-burn, but if you're talking about dozens of solar systems and how far apart solar systems are, hundreds of mines is just not going to do it. So then Vance has a line that further complicates the issue.
And we couldn't find an opening.
If Noose detonates the entire wall, what's the blast yield?
80,000 cubic light years of space destroyed.
So apparently all of Federation space is only 80,000 cubic light years now, which still would take years to coat in a shield of Omega-47 particle mines. So I don't know why I'm so hung up on this, because clearly the writers don't care. We do finally get into some good Star Trek, battle action scenes here between the Venari Rawl attacking the saucer section of the Athena. It's feeling more fun when they do things like this. But, it's all teenage danks nowadays. They know they're going to be boarded, so as to hide the kids, they put them in the airlock and do the little pressure trick to obscure their life signs should Noose Braca scan for them, and they just don't want to put the kids at jeopardy. But that's good. Stow them away so the adults can do the good, fun Star Trek stuff. We finally get Paul Giamatti back, and it's great. Let him loose. Tear it up. Make the show better. But the lazy writers have him say things like this.
Anisha? Well, you're alive! Like Lazarus! Oh, you were awfully chatty when I busted you out of prison 2 years ago. You practically sang the Pledge of Allegiance. 3 Federation stooges?
Referencing Lazarus, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the Three Stooges. In 1,000 years, multiple species are still so obsessed with 20th century Earth. What's next? Are they going to listen to Def Leppard and Styx? Anywho, Braca takes Anisha and Aki off for his master plan, but not before Aki says this to the Doctor.
Leap clear of all that is corporeal. And make yourself greater.
So the Doctor integrates himself into the ship using programmable matter, and the Venari Rawl destroy the Athena. Haha, but it's just a ploy because the Doctor created a hologram of the ship being destroyed. Well, why did the Doctor need to do that? They have holo emitters. Can't they just say, use the holo trick? Why is it the Doctor is the only one who can create this illusion? Regardless, it's a good thing the Venari Rawl are stupid because they bought it and they flew away. But the ship is saved. At this point, we get the title treatment flying in over the debris field, which is, a departure from their standard intro. I don't know why they did this. It just seemed out of place to have the debris field of the Athena and these floating letters in space. I didn't get why the need for this change for this one episode. So we cut back inside the Athena. The Doctor emerges back out of the computer, but he's glitching hard and speaking word salad. So Sam takes him off for some diagnostics, and Reno tells Jaden to go man sickbay because he's, I think he wants to be a doctor. He's medically inclined, as we saw in his backstory episode. But I found it odd that almost all of Jaden's lines in this entire episode were off camera. It was always when he wasn't in the shot or he had his back turned towards the camera so we don't see him talking. And I've noticed this throughout the season. The character, the actor who portrays him, Kareem Diane, I think he pronounces it, he doesn't speak like a Klingon. So he has to go deep and put on that Klingon voice. But you can tell in every episode, it's all ADR anyway, which is automatic dialogue replacement, even though there's nothing automatic about it. So he goes back after the show is made and re-records his lines to get a better take. And I've seen him struggle this entire season with, he puts on the deep Klingon voice and he can't deliver a line like, oh, I asked you to join my house to be my brother. The way he projects, and it's almost like, I don't know how to describe it, but he's like, I ask you to join my house to be my brother. Like, it's very measured. It's almost like he's straining to speak that deeply and like a Klingon. So, are they just saying, screw it, we'll have most of your lines off camera, and you can go do it in the recording booth later? I don't know what was up, but I noticed it a little bit last episode, and definitely this episode. Most of his lines are you can't see him speaking, which I thought was weird. Now the show turns into the Captain Reno adventures. Jet here just takes over, and she's whipping the kids into shape, teaching them lessons, giving them tasks to do to save the day. Their goal is they figure out that Noose Braca must have a transmitter to detonate all the mines. So they can't just cut it off in case there's a failsafe. They want to piggyback onto the signal and change it so that they can take it over. Meanwhile, Braca returns to where they left off the rest of the Athena, the the nacelles and the atrium so that he can put Starfleet on trial. How many times has an enemy, an alien, an entity put humanity or Starfleet on trial? Of course, we know TNG was bookended by Q's trials, which was actually allegedly like one trial the whole time. But didn't Trelane do something similar to the TOS crew? And I'm sure there's a lot of other references to our crew representing humanity or Starfleet, and they have to defend themselves from war crimes, else this superior force is going to kill them and everyone, and it's a tired old story. As much as I love Paul Giamatti's performance, and I know it's over the top, he's a larger-than-life bad guy character, it's supposed to be that way, but all this pseudo-legal mumbo-jumbo talking back and forth was really boring. And who knew the Venari Rawl had their own cable news network? And, you know, honestly, at this point, when I was like rewatching to take notes as to make this video, I just got bored. I didn't care. Reno and the kids hack the signal, save the day. Baraka reveals his childhood trauma, thinking Starfleet attacked his colony, and it's pointed out that they didn't, so he doesn't have a leg to stand on, so our crew saves the day, but it was a lackluster ending. Speaking of the ending, they included a song with singing over these montage shots of all the starships that are now free from Federation space. That kind of music just doesn't have a place in Star Trek. I'm sorry, I'm a purist, I'm old school. The intro song for Enterprise, it was a terrible fit. This is the second time they've used pop music with lyrics, and I know it's because they're going for a younger audience, but Star Trek is 60. I was born at the start of the last season of Star Trek. It's been with me my whole life growing up, so I know that this music does not belong. Really didn't like that. And I also didn't like the ending here with childhood pictures of all the cast and stupid made up stuff. This felt like a series finale where they go through, all the pictures of the cast and crew as their way of signing off. And you're not going to do it better than the OGs. So anyway, all in all, season long, yes. I saw an article, I only read the headline, that this was the best first season of any Star Trek show ever, which is flat out propaganda. This was, I think it's the worst first season of a Star Trek show because they're not doing enough Star Trek things. They're trying to, like I said, skew younger, find a younger audience. I was a little kid and I was hooked on this show, watching reruns of TOS and the animated series. Then TNG came out, and when I was 20-ish, and, it's fantastic. You don't need to inject so much teenage angst and pop songs into Star Trek to attract an audience. Just do good Trek. Trek is at an odd point, though, because it's 60 years old this fall, and they've already finished shooting the last 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds, which will be the end of it, and they've also already finished shooting the last season, or the second season, of Starfleet Academy. However, I just read that in season 2, there's no Paul Giamatti, and there's no Tatiana Maslany. I don't really care about Tatiana Maslany's character that much, although it is odd that the whole season-long, quest by Caleb is to find his mother, and he finds her, and then they just part ways at the end, and she's not even going to be in the second season. That aside, Paul Giamatti will be a big hole in this show. And if they stick to, can we move on to the cadets graduating? I know that's not probably going to be the rest of season 2, but I doubt there will be a season 3. And that means...
She's dead, Jim.
Let's hope that it'll come back stronger and that Star Trek will live long and prosper.